Now I pull up on the scene, dead fresh and casket clean. They gon' hate on me, yeah, gon' hate on me. When I pull up on the scene, dead fresh and casket clean. They gon' hate on me, yeah, gon' hate on me, yeah. Pull up on the scene, dead fresh and casket clean. They gon' hate on me, yeah, gon' hate on me.
Yes. You are once again rocking with the best. Welcome back to the Biscayne Breakdown. I'm Kay. I got Coach Alex in the building, and I got Deem in the building. What's up, fellas? How y'all doing? Deem, what's goody?
Oh, I'm good, man.
Glad to have you aboard, man. Glad that you could join us this evening. We'll get into your coverage or thereof of Miami Heat ball this year. What's good with you, Alex?
What's up, man? As my name says, I'm still here, dog. Still here.
Yeah, man. I was about to say you sound so unenthusiastic. I mean, everybody should know Joel is lurking. He's about as enthusiastic about the season and the team as Alex sounds. So you probably won't see him, but at least Alex is here, as he says, still here. It's been a rough one, man. Honestly, about where the Miami Heat are typically at around this time of the year, 500. As Alex likes to say, a whole lot of mid and a couple of more words. Mid off. But I don't mind where this team is for several reasons. And one, you know what I mean? Because it was a season in the flux. We didn't know what they were going to look like coming off of that situation last year. And that's not an excuse. That's just being reality. They're always in rumors. Don't even want to talk about the last set of rumors that they found themselves involved in as the trade deadline came and went, involving one, Giannis Antetokounmpo, but that's neither here nor there. So just, them, of course, they're in a 7 AC playing territory, but them seeming like they're going to figure out some things or maybe has the potential to figure out some things, which we're going to get into a little later as we broach the last third of the season, as Alex so correct me in pre-production. I said the second half, but he, corrected me, made me become very specifically correct. It is the last third. We're going to get into some of those things, but those are my thoughts, just a few general thoughts, and I'm sure some more come up as we conversate here. But Alex, what are your thoughts on the season, on the Miami Heat season so far?
We right back where we didn't want to be. Was obviously, with the health of a certain guy who's supposed to be making a return, that's throwing a monkey wrench into the whole situation of how the team has been able to perform. Because, that's a 20-point per game score that's been out a whole lot. And, with that being said, we've had a whole bunch of other people out for various reasons, had a whole bunch of different starting lineups, had a bunch of, how many games has my boy, Myron Gardner, that joker done started 4 games, it's been a very, very interesting year for us to literally end up right exactly where we don't want to be, in Playinville. And so, they still got a chance to get out of it. Guys from other teams are injured, and with us getting that said guy back, who we'll talk about a little bit later. So there's an opportunity to move up, but they got to buckle down and get it done, man.
Yeah, you mentioned that guy. We'll get to him. We're not disrespecting by calling that. Well, I'm not disrespecting. I can't speak for other people by calling him that guy. But I quickly, before we get on to your take, Dean, let me ask you this: do you think that Norm would have been able to have the same type of year he's had if 14, for lack of better terms, right now, has been on the floor for more than 7 or 8 games?
You asking me or
I'm asking Alex. We're gonna get to you in a second,
all right.
Dean. I'm gonna get to you in a second. Oh, don't worry. We're gonna get to you, Dean. Nah, but Alex, yeah, do you think Norm would be able to have the same type of season if Tyler was on the floor?
Honestly, All-Star, probably no. He wouldn't have probably made the All-Star team. But averaging 20, yes. I still see, obviously points need to be put on the board. And in regards to the Miami Heat and everybody and the roster that we have, him and Tyler were the two buckets anyway. So those two guys would have probably been getting the bulk of the shots, and so he would have had the opportunity to definitely still put up 20 per game. But I don't know if it would have been as impactful as it has been because of the fact that everybody's seeing, oh, like Norm is basically out there cooking by himself from the guard standpoint, and obviously Bam had been up and down for a lot of the first quarter, well, the first 2/3 of the year, but he's finally kind of sort of turned a corner and became a little bit more consistent lately. So 20 points per game, yes, but all-star nod, probably not. That's all I think.
So that's what I was gonna kind of like respond that way by saying, yeah, you're saying that his 20 wouldn't have been as impactful in from the perspective, not from a winning perspective, but like from a cutesy perspective, the thing it takes to make an all-star. I get it wouldn't have stood out as much. I got what you said. It wouldn't have been as sexy a 20 in a basketball
I
perspective.
say yeah, because like he done had these 30-point games and everything. Like, and if Tyler's there, like that's probably stops at 25, 27 instead of
Right.
the
Okay.
30s. And I don't think he's hit 40 yet this year, but like the high 30 games that he
I
had
think it
a
was
few
close,
times.
right?
Yeah,
Yep.
those few times where he was close. Like with Tyler there, that's probably not getting all the way up there.
I got you. I tend to agree. And we can get there. We gonna like. I agree with your thing. As far as like your point, you're right. But I guess deeper to that, and I'm gonna let Deem because we got to get to Deem. But I don't know. I think I would have preferred it this way, but that's another topic. We'll get there maybe now. Or we'll get there
Me too.
on another show. Deem, what's up, man? What's up, Deem? Deem, what's up, man?
Oh, man, everything is good, man.
How you
Everything
doing,
is good.
man?
We
You obviously
found
ain't
you.
watching much Miami Heat ball because you sound too pleasant and happy and pleased with life to be
We
watching as
found
much
Deem.
Miami
We
Heat
found
ball as
Deem,
we have.
everybody. We found him.
Nah, man,
Well,
I haven't watched too much Heat basketball this year, man. I can count on one hand how many games I watched all season.
perfect person to have on the pod then. So what are your what are your thoughts? I mean, basically, and you've been dipping in, dipping out as far as like listen to the conversation. I'm sure you've been
Yeah,
checking the box scores, like like I say, even
yeah,
if you
yeah,
haven't
yeah,
watched, you still keeping up with what you can keep up on out. And this is no shade. This is just the way of framing it. Like keeping up what you can keeping up with without actually seeing them live. I'm sure you've seen highlights, whatever. Just
yeah.
checking on the things and verifying the things that have been said. Okay. With all that, what are your thoughts? Just from the outside looking into this perspective of not seeing it on the court, but hearing all the things and having a feel for the storyline or the way the season's gone thus far. What are your thoughts on them so far?
My honest opinion on what the season been so far from the the 4 games I done seen all year, and all happen to be losses except one. And like you said, checking the box scores and all that, I feel as though the way the Heat lose, and hearing you guys conversation in the group chat about how certain games went down at the end. I feel like it's the same way they was losing 3 years ago. Now, again, I could be wrong because I'm not watching those games. I'm not watching those games, but it just seemed like it's the same loss, like the same way they lose is the same way they've been losing 3 years ago. They get to the third and fourth quarter and they can't buy a bucket. They can't get stops. And I'll be confused because the first half of the game, they on fire. And then we get to that third quarter and it's like, why does both teams keep falling out flat in the third quarter for the past 3, 4 seasons? K, me and you discussed it briefly in the group chat a couple weeks ago. But that's just my take from the first 40 something games of the season.
I'm about to say I was gonna get that number before we got deep, but it seems like you're looking at it, Alex. Get that number to us when you calculate it.
56.
Okay, so the first 56 club, let me see, 60 would be 20, 82, 22. So that's 26 games left. So yeah, right? 26 games left, right? Okay. So
Yeah.
yeah, 56 games. No, Deem, you're absolutely that's crazy, but you right. And I say absolutely right because the overall point of what you're saying is 100% true. I would say this season though, where it looks different is it might have been an even game, or the Miami Heat might have been trying to show you that they can compete in a game and then fall apart in the third quarter. And you're like, what are we doing? We were just, whereas this year, unfortunately, they could be dominating the game. They could be controlling the game, whether that's on the scoreboard, whether that's tempo, whether that's pace of the game. And the bottom will just fall out. So I mean, effectively the same thing, but and another thing about it, it's not for the same reasons. It's not for the same. I guess you could just look at it and flat out be like, the ball isn't going in the hole. Okay, cool. But it's not because they're not putting themselves in positions for the ball to go in the hole. Like stupid stuff will just happen, inexplicable stuff. And I know that sounds like an excuse, but hear me out. In past years, we can just call it the Jimmy Butler era, talk about it for what it is. His name has he who is not to be said has been that way for so long. We can just say it now at this point. We on to another set of storylines and drama. So in the Jimmy Butler era, those looks were hard to create. Like it just felt like with every action, it was a struggle. Okay, we're gonna try to get Jimmy going in the pick and roll. Okay, bet if that don't work, we're gonna catch Bam in the triple threat in the dunker spot, let him get busy. But they'll wall both of those off, and we'll end up not getting off a good look or get off a funky look, or like if 100, if 80, let's say if 60%, 70% is the average NBA look, we'll be getting off a 20% look. Like that's how it looked in that era. Whereas now they're getting good shots. The actions are getting them to the rim or getting them to the wide open shots they want to get. But whether they, do 3-4 turnovers back to back, a series of stupid, careless plays, or whether the ball just absolutely stopped going in for 3 minutes. And all of that is player related too. So I'm not going to blame it on the basketball because like you said, Deem, and as we know, Alex, it's going in for the first 2 quarters. It's going in the fourth quarter where you make that push and still end up losing by 4 points, or you get it tied or within 2, and then you can't make a bucket to, close the deal or finish the comeback. So it's definitely the players getting tight and something to that. So you're not wrong, Dame. It's just happening a little differently if you're watching every bounce, or most bounces of the ball on the court. What you got as far as that goes, Alex, in response to what Deem said?
So I mean, basically combining both of the things that both of y'all are talking about, like it's the truth, man. Like we done got back to having third quarters, and it's literally mostly a different cast of characters. It's just something that comes with putting on that Miami Heat jersey. At a certain point, you're gonna come out after halftime and you're gonna forget how to play basketball. Like we've seen it happen a whole bunch of times in regards to, like Deem said, 3 years ago, it happened all the time with Jimmy and the pace of our offense and how slowed down it was because Jimmy wanted to play out of the mid post and all that. And now we're trying to play fast pace and get up a bunch of shots. And like you were hinting at, Kay, like we're getting up a bunch of shots and then they just stop going in and nobody can make anything. And I mean, obviously Eric Spoelstra is the best coach in the NBA, but there's sometimes where it's like some of the lineups that he puts out there don't help it either. like you could keep a dude out there who can get a bucket, dog. Like it's okay to leave him out there, or it's okay to put him in. Like we call a timeout to put him in instead of waiting until 3 minutes after the timeout to be like, all right, dag, like I should have put Norm, or I should have put Wiggs back in or something like that. And obviously, I mean, like I said, it's a whole different mostly a different cast of characters. So a lot of guys have been getting opportunities, and some of them, like Nikola Jovic, who I have been a fan of, but I've been very disappointed with this year. Like he hasn't taken advantage of that opportunity. So like he's been a big hole.
They killing that man. They killing that boy. They killing that boy for that contract. Bruh, after every game. And he's making 62. I ended 62 million.
62. That
See,
junk
I
kicks
know.
in
See,
next year.
why do I know that number? See what I'm saying? They killing that boy.
Everybody,
Killing him.
they say it, and he got the contract extension, and it kicks in next year, and it's like, yeah, dog. So it's just, hey, man, like I said, it just feels like at this point it's something that's until we get a potential like top dog that we could just be like, hey, here, carry us. When we get in moments like that, it's just something that's going to happen when you throw on a Heat jersey.
But wait, Coach, let me ask Coach a question. Coach, do you think that's more so like the problem you said, like if we get that top dog and we tell him to carry us? I believe we had that with Jimmy, and the problem we still had that problem. So do you think that's more so coaching, or is that player?
I definitely think that's player because of the fact that Jimmy, like I love how Draymond Green said it a few years ago, where he was like, there are 82 game players and then there are 16 game players, like playoff players. Jimmy is one of those, hey, like when you need me to really, really go get it and turn it on, I could do that. But if you looking for me to turn it on, to have it turned on every single day of every single game, every time I step out here, then I'm the wrong dude to be looking at. So like that's my viewpoint on it. Like obviously Jimmy with us, I think the most he averaged was I think he averaged in the year after COVID like 22 points a game. Like he won't looking to try and be around the 25 plus range. And that's the type of guy that I think we need to be able to pull us through those moments. Because obviously, I mean, Jimmy could do it with his rim pressure, with his mid-range shooting and getting to the free throw line and everything. But like I think we need somebody who basically is, yo, I'm certified and I can go get it anytime I want.
I mean, I agree with you. And we're gonna touch a little bit on that whole process as far as how you go about getting a big dog, not through trade and not through free agency. Hint, hint, hint. To those that are paying attention to the landscape, and to the Miami Heat specifically. But as we move forward, and you talk about coaching, Deem, that's a very interesting segue because there's been, as far as this Miami Heat, that's been the first 2/3. And there's been a lot of storylines, and we're going to talk about a couple of more, just spend a little time on each. But one of the big ones, and speaking of coaching, is a young man by the name of Kel'el Ware. Just got married, by the way. I mean, good for that brother. I mean, if that's what he want to do, then good for him. I hope that help him, I mean, calibrate and focus on nothing but ball. Maybe he was busy planning the wedding. I don't know. Anyway, I bet you Spo didn't get an invitation. I'm joking. I'm joking. Um, the Kel'el Ware, Eric Spoelstra dynamic has been a very fascinating one. Um, I would like to say there'll be varying takes on that, but there aren't. 80% of the takes out there is that Spo hates the man. And I'm not necessarily a believer in that notion. I believe that Spo is a great coach when it comes to be able to relate to his guys. You can't quite use the word great at adapting because he's slow at adapting. And that's something that we've always talked about. But what he is he's studious and he's a perfectionist. So, yes, it might take him a minute to adapt. But once he begins to adapt, you can count on Spo to lock in, get down what you need him to get down, and master it to the best of his ability or fine tune it based on the tools he has to work with. So, I think that Spo is coaching him hard with the old school mentality he has. He learned from guys like Rouse, but at the same time, trying to adapt to what it is personality wise that Kel'el is and has been, according to the scouting report, for a long time. While also not only managing the psyche of the player, we're trying to pull the best out of him, but figuring out how that talent best fits with the guys that the Miami Heat have on the floor. So I guess overall in a button of what I'm saying is managing Kel'el's motor and making sure he's always giving the best of it and trying to teach him hard lessons when he need to be with his playing time, with the way you pull him, mannerisms, whatever, while at the same time managing how that looks and works for the Miami Heat beside a guy like Bam Adebayo. So that's my take on that situation. I think it's working. I think whenever there's a situation of note, that you find social media up in up in arms about. I think that quickly within a game or two, often in the next game or his very next opportunity, Kel'el responds. So I don't have a problem with how Spo is handling that situation. And I think he's progressing in the right direction. What you got on that whole Kel'el Spo situation, Alex?
Man.
Alex is a coach, so your opinion here is important.
Say, man, I think with the lack of size that the Heat have had, all basically since Jimmy played during his era, like we had the bubble year, we would start Myers Leonard just to have a 7-footer out there. But I mean, our best lineup had Bam at the 5, Jay Crowder at the 4, potentially Iggy in there with Jimmy. Like we were Spo loves all right, just I'm cutting it all out. Spo loves small ball fours. Spo is a modern coach who loves small ball fours. And with how the game is changing now, you really can't have small ball fours. Like you can have them for a split second in the game, like, but not as long as he wants to. And with how the game is evolving, Bam is now honestly a 4. So you need somebody with Kel'el's skill set to be able to protect the rim and stretch the court to be out there with Bam. But with how Spo is viewing it, like I really think it kind of sort of went back to the guy who kind of sort of has been talked around, Tyler. When Tyler had came back from his original injury, Kel'el had been starting and playing great, and Spo wasn't going to take Davion out of the starting lineup. He wasn't going to take Norm out of the starting lineup. He wasn't going to take Wiggs or Bam out of the starting lineup. So it just had to be Ware. And I think that rubbed Kel'el the wrong way because he's like, yo, like, I'm handling my business. I'm averaging a double-double. I'm freaking I'm like third or second in three-point percentage for centers in the league.
He might have been leading at that point because I think he led that joint for a greater part of the season.
There. Like he was up there. And you literally just pulling me out the starting lineup, honestly, for no reason. There's a reason because we got to see if Tyler and Norm can play together. But
he didn't play his way out of the starting lineup. He didn't earn his way out of the starting lineup, is what you're saying. And I get it.
Exactly. And so then, like, obviously, Spo, which I had never seen him really do, or I never really remember him doing, like, going after Kel'el in the media as much as he has. I didn't like that. Obviously, I'm not Eric Spoelstra, so I don't know. It's worked a little bit. Like some games, Kel'el will play 3 minutes or maybe 12 minutes. And then Spo will go after him in the media. And then the next game, Kel'el has a double-double because he played 20-something minutes and he played a lot better. Like it's honestly a slippery slope. I'm not gonna lie. I was saying around the trade deadline time, I was like, yo, get Kel'el away from Spo because Spo obviously like he just ain't rocking. But I mean, obviously nothing happened. So we got to figure this mess out. We got to get it figured out because I think the best days of the Miami Heat, if Kel'el is on the team, is with him and Bam being able to play on the court together.
What do you got on that relationship as well? And since Alex went there, what do you got on that relationship between Spo and Kel'el? What you've nudged, what you've been able to, Deem so far, Deem, for lack of better terms, I guess, Deem. And also, what do you think about the double big lineup featuring Bam and Kel'el? And we'll get back to you on that, Alex, in a little bit. But what you got, Deem, as far as that relationship with Spo again and the double big lineup featuring Bam Adebayo and Kel'el Ware?
I think honestly, I think Coach hit it on the nose. When you lack size and you've been lacking size for years, and you finally got that big, you got to play him. Again, we don't know what Spo is seeing from Kel'el in practice, on film, on none of those things. But I just don't. I don't think it makes sense to play a guy for 3 minutes and 5 minutes. In the next game, he's getting 27 minutes, 25 minutes, then back down to 2, 3, 5 minutes. Like that's a lot of inconsistency. And I understand, you want to match your lineups, you want to go there, but I don't. Again, I'm not a coach, so I don't know what and the coaching staff is seeing. But sometimes I don't always agree to match lineups. I think it don't make sense all the times. I understand sometimes you need to go small, but I don't know. I don't think it's always best to match what the other guys doing. And far as Spo throwing jabs at him and with the media, again, we never seen Spo do something like that. So it's kind of weird. And honestly, I don't like it.
So for what it's worth, I agree with y'all. You gotta play that dude. I mean, there's no world where that dude isn't playing. Like if you have to pull him or shorten his stints or his rotations on the floor minute wise by 30 seconds or so, you do that. But that dude, there should be no game where bro not seeing 20 minutes. No game. Like
Yeah, it don't make no
there's no
sense.
world. So I agree there. Let me ask y'all this though, and this is in quickly, because we got a couple more things we want to get to for real. But and we all know his reputation. We know that was a scouting report. We know that's why he left Oregon and went to Indiana. We know even at Indiana, what's my man's that used to coach for the Knicks? Woodson? Ain't he the coach at Indiana still?
Yeah,
He
Mike
wasn't
Wilson.
right.
Yeah.
Wasn't he the one to coach Kel'el as well anyway?
Yeah.
Right. I think Woodson has some quotes like about his effort and his motor. Is it because in my mind, I'm looking at it like Spo, yes, Spo, arguably this is a player that Spo has never had before. Spo, I don't think Spo has ever had a guy like Kel'el. So when you see a guy with as much talent as ability to impact the game on both sides, sometimes don't you have to do things that you've never done on both sides? And again, it could become off as disrespectful. And I understand, Deem. I completely understand, Alex. I get it. But maybe Spo see something he ain't never seen before. So he like, I gotta do something I ain't never done before to try to get it out of the type of guy that I've never been given before. Because let's be honest, when do the Miami Heat draft guy? They'll trade for a disgruntled guy. They'll sign a disgruntled guy with character issues. But when have they drafted a young guy that comes out of those younger development programs with those type of issues? Now you could say Michael Beasley, but Michael Beasley was a number one pick.
It was been 2007.
But and okay, they learned. But even then, it's like come on, man. Bees is undeniable. Go ahead, Dean.
I don't think Kel'el has character issues though.
No, I
that
don't.
Far.
Right. I mean, we're just basketball terms. Like in basketball terms, like they're gonna call your work ethic, they're gonna call your motor, they're gonna label this character. Do I think he's a bad in real life character issues? No. Okay, so let me be specific because I'm just talking basketball scout terms. But you're right, Dean, and forgive me for saying that. His motor, like his work ethic, do he want it? Like all of that was questioned, and that's what I meant when I say and again, I'm just and I guess that's the flaw in basketball media and analysis these days because we use certain words interchangeably. But in a scouting combine, they would call those character concerns. But you guys are right. Let's use the specific words, motor and effort and ability to just go hard and always be on here. You're right. I'll give y'all that one. Forgive me, Kelly. I ain't mean to question who you are as a man. Like, did you have anything else there you had, Dean?
Nah, not on the Spo and
okay.
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut about that because I got a lot of different issues on reasons why I think Spo don't like him, but I'm gonna keep that in the group chat.
Nah, next week you can say all of that on a live show. We want you to say every single word.
They gonna cancel me, man.
Nah, man. Look, man. How can you cook a man that's uncookable? You good? I mean, look, ain't that many people viewing us yet. And when enough people start viewing us to get you canceled, then we doing it right. Alex, can you hear us? Can you hear us, Alex? Okay, we'll keep going to Alex get his situation right. To the guy that we were talking about, Tyler Herro, man. I don't know how many games Tyler's played this year, but it can't be no more than 7 or 8. Tyler Herro, man, he's set to return in the Miami Heat's first game after the All-Star break, which will be on Friday as we're trying to piece this return of the Biscayne Breakdown pod together for you late on a Thursday evening. We appreciate y'all for checking us out. We appreciate y'all for rocking with us. for as long as we have. Like I said, we're gonna try to be more consistent, as we always say. But when you look at Tyler Herro thus far in the 25-26 season, he's only played in 11 games. He's only started in 10 games. As we mentioned back in the beginning, the Miami Heat have played 56 games, and he's only played in, what did I say, 11? Yeah, he's only played in 11 of those.
Yeah, 11 games.
So those are 45. Those are 45 games that Tyler Herro has missed this season. Without Tyler Herro, it's a very interesting dynamic when it comes to what they could be with him. But I guess that goes back to the very question that I asked Coach earlier, is would they still be the same team if, you know, Tyler Herro had been playing the entirety of the season? And that's a question that I don't know. What do you think? I mean, just again, based on your perspective and what you can achieve, the heights that he achieved.
My whole thing with the Tyler situation is, I think no matter what, if Tyler's playing or not, the season probably would have been the same. It don't matter if he played 11 games or 57 games. He's going to get on the court. He's going to get his points. He's going to get his shots up. He's going to put up a lot of bad looking shots where you question it, and he's going to get up a lot of like nice looking shots. I don't think the season would it. If Tyler's on the court or not, it wouldn't make a difference. Whatever place that he's in now, they would have been in the same spot they in with Tyler there. They probably would have won a couple more games, and Tyler probably would have lost them a couple more games. So it doesn't make the season or break the season if Tyler plays or not. It's the team is who they are. Tyler doesn't affect
So
winning to me. In my
a
eyes, he
net
doesn't affect
neutral.
winning. He could score 25 points and it like he just got 25 points. It didn't affect the game at all.
So you're saying Tyler's presence will be a net neutral, like no better, no worse.
Nah, no better, no worse. No.
Okay. Okay. And I know, and I about know what you think, Alex. Let me ask you this, man. And we've been here before. We've been here before. We got to go here again. Hopefully he can stay on the floor. We don't hate. I can't speak for everybody. I'm speaking for myself and what I think my guys feel. We don't hate the brother. We want him to be on the floor playing basketball. We want him to make himself so that he can't be targeted every single time by the opposition. But mainly we just want him on the floor playing basketball. So let's put that out there. Missing 46 games, 45 games, sorry, as I so elegantly tried to put before I blinked out. Forgive me for that, people. At this point, if you're the Miami Heat and Coach Spoelstra, what is Tyler Herro's role coming back into the mix and for the remainder of the season? If it changes, like, does it change from this? Are you working him back in and then switching his role? Is his role the same? Like, just flat out tomorrow and for the remainder of the season. If it's two different answers, give that. What is Tyler Herro's role for this team as they look to close out the 25-26 season, Alex?
Shoot, man, it sucks to honestly say, but like you got to figure out how you can get back as much value to him and his name as possible. So you have to throw him out there to start. You have to like let him get to that 30 something minutes a game mark and like still be able to show, hey, I'm still Tyler Herro. Hey, like if you're a contender and you don't or if you're looking for like a secondary scorer who can shoot the ball really well and play make off the second side off of a dominant guy on the other side like a Cade Cunningham and the Detroit Pistons, like they could use a guy like Tyler Herro, but that's neither here nor there. But like, hey, like I'm still him. Like we gotta be able to get him out there for him to show that he still is who he thinks he is, which is that a 20 points a game score, should be one of the headline guys next to the right guy. Like, but I mean, we don't have the right guy right now. So him as the headline, basically like Deem was getting at, doesn't really get us anywhere than where we've been. So I mean, that's how I'm viewing it. Like I already have accepted that he has to come back and he has to play a lot so that we can recoup the value for 9 times out of 10. I think they're going to offer Norm a contract extension and try and move off of Tyler. So like they got to figure out how we're going to show that, hey, he can still hoop.
You're thinking big brained, and I hadn't thought about that yet, but I mean, I can't argue that. I like to argue because I want him to be the sixth man, because I think that's how he can help this particular team win. But no, you're thinking you're thinking 2 steps ahead of me. You're thinking in the future, brother. We still in 2026. You way in 2030, and I ain't mad at that. I mean, golly geez, I wish I could fight it, but that's
Could
sound
I be
thinking.
honest
What you
about the
got,
Tyler
Dean?
thing real quick?
What you got?
I,
Please.
I honestly think, and I said this in the past, I was against it, but I think for this particular team, it's better for Tyler to start and come off the bench.
Why so? Why
That's
so? Is that a asset thing, like to try to trade him later, as Alex is alluding to, or are you just purely speaking from
no,
this
because
team's chance
who
to
else?
win?
Yeah, for this team to, and again, I don't think it's going to affect winning or losing, but who's going to fill in? Who's going to take that spot?
I mean, honestly, I like when Pell's healthy. I like Pell in the starting lineup. I mean, I think Wiggs is a solid player. I think he gets way more flack than he's worth. Wiggs not going to jump off the page and do nothing special, but he's not going to do a whole lot of stuff wrong, and he helps you win. Norm, you can criticize his ability to get other players involved, which I wholeheartedly agree he could be better at. But when you need him to compete on defense, he does, and he's gonna score that Tater. Davion is what he is. He's been continuing to try to improve his offense, and he has to continue to work on that because, I mean, he's not a young guy, but he's not an old guy either, so there's still room to grow, and you see improvement there. But I actually like them. Like I said, when you look at like Jaime coming off the bench, their
I
only
like Jaime
problem
coming
is
off the bench.
right. Me too. Their only problem is having another guy when they're walling off Jaime, or when Jaime isn't on the floor, or when Norm isn't cooking, whatever they're doing, having another guy you can go to say, go get me a bucket. I think that's their issue, which is why I think like coming off the pine, maybe as a 6th or 7th man, is the role for him.
But see, and that's why I think you you put the young guy and you put Jaime, you leave them coming off the bench. If now this is a playoff push, right? So the Heat is fighting to keep their play-in spot and to make the playoffs. I'm not trusting the young guy in that position.
Facts.
So that's why I want Tyler to start, because if that's your goal is to make the playoffs, you got to keep Tyler in there.
That's a fact. What you got on there, Alex?
I think, shoot, man, this team is so weird built. Like
it's a conundrum because you want them to be able to move them, but it's like at the same time, it's like they're gonna try to win. So do you operate like that, or do you? I get it.
And like, if we really sit back and think about it, I think one of the main reasons why the Heat decided, hey, like at the trade deadline, it's Giannis or nothing, was because of the fact that they didn't get to going into the season. It was always, we got to see what Norm and Tyler are together. We got to see how they can look together, and they never got that. So with them not getting that, it was still like a thing up in the air in the back of their heads, like, hey, well, potentially, maybe it could work.
This might be something.
It might work.
Yeah.
Say that again.
You're saying this might be something.
Yeah. So, but I think like if Tyler wouldn't have got hurt again, then they would have had the runway to see, all right, yes, this works. All right, no, this doesn't work. And they would have been able to make a more definitive decision to pivot off of it. But they was like, shoot, well, all right, we didn't get Giannis, but hey, we're getting an NBA All-Star who averaged 20-something points back as our trade deadline acquisition, who hasn't played this year. Like we're gonna get to add that to the team. And that's a terrible way to look at it, but that's the Miami Heat. That's what we deal with.
They've been selling
So
us that loaf of bread for a couple of years now. Because he
and I
always hurt too, though, which is unfortunate.
hey, what Rob say? He's fragile.
All right, so look,
uh,
we got what, 26 games left?
Yep.
yeah,
How many games do you think Tyler play out of those 26?
That's a good question.
that is a great question. Shoot.
I think he know he playing for his supper, so he gonna play at least 17 of them.
I was about to say he gotta play at least 20.
Well, that's what I was thinking too, but that's a
Yeah.
stretch because you're talking about 20 out of 26. That's almost 80%.
He done missed he done missed
he,
45.
he should be fresh. He
I was
should
gonna
be
say,
fresh.
you took the words right out of my mouth. You done missed 45, gang. You should be fresh. Everybody tired and junk. Like, bro, dog, you been on vacation, low key.
He on that Utah Jazz workout plan.
Shit,
Um,
ain't it?
Go ahead, bro. So listen, speaking of records and how many games left, the Miami Heat currently sit 29 and 27, which is good enough for eighth place in the Eastern Conference. Good old play-in territory. Um, they sit a half game behind the seventh place Orlando Magic, who are 28 and 25. They're in action later tonight against the Kings, I think. They sit two games behind the sixth place Philadelphia 76ers, who I know are in action against the Atlanta Hawks at 30 and 24. And they sit three games even in front of the surging Charlotte Hornets, who were going on a run before the All-Star break, and the aforementioned Atlanta Hawks, who are playing Philly, both sitting at a record of 26 and 30. Again, three games ahead of Charlotte and Atlanta for 9th and 10th, sitting in 8th, and a half game behind Orlando for the 7th seed, while being just two games out of being in the play-in altogether at 6th place. Now, of course, teams are playing and losing, winning and losing, whatever, moving around, but that's kind of where the Miami Heat sit firmly in that play-in territory, which they have been the last couple of years. What do you guys outlook for the remainder of the season? Where did the Heat, just give it to me, I guess simple like this. What place do they finish in? Where do they end up in the playoffs? Deem, what you got? Okay, as Deem thinks about his answer and collects himself. Alex, what you got?
So what I was just doing over here, I got my laptop set up. I was looking up, and the Heat have basically tied for the 7th easiest remaining schedule. So with that being said, there is a runway for them to make up some ground. Like I think I mentioned that earlier in the pod. Like there's definitely runway for them to make up ground, but it's gonna take everything working the right way, and obviously us throwing the fact that Tyler is coming back, that is gonna be a totally different element that we haven't had to deal with for most of the season. But I mean, hey, he did, like I said, he's averaged 20 for the last few years, so that can hopefully always just help in regard to scoring the basketball. So I'm looking at the Heat being able to get to the 6th seed, but if a gun was put to my head, then we're gonna probably end up in the 7-8 playing game. But I'm optimistically we make it to 6.
I can see it. I can see making it to 6. I honestly think we have a chance to make it to 6. I honestly even think we have a chance to make it to 5 because I think some people's schedule get harder, and like you said, our schedule get easier. And I played those games with the schedule in my head quite a bit over the All-Star break, which is why I'm thinking there. Um, I think we get to 5 or 6. I think we make it outside the play-in. Some of the teams above us aren't as good, and we've lost a lot of games that we should have won. Like I said, we haven't been healthy, and that's not even just Tyler Herro. Whether you're talking Pell, whether you're talking Norm, whether you're talking, just other guys not even playing up to par. Bam catching his offensive stride over the last couple of weeks, starting to go back to the double big lineup more. I think that they could firmly get to that 5 or 6 range. Dean, what you got? Where do you think the Miami Heat finish? And what do you think they do in the playoffs?
I think they finished where they at. I think they finished eighth. I think I don't think Atlanta is good enough, and I think Charlotte's still young. I don't think they're gonna catch them. I think they finish eighth. I think they gonna finish where they at. I can't tell you about how Orlando's been playing, but Philly, I think Philly's been playing really good. I think they just dealing with a couple injuries. Obviously, they deal with that every year. Every team does.
Right.
But I just
I
don't
mean,
think
theirs
they're
is a little different. I'll be honest with you, Joel and
yeah
B. That's always different to manage.
yeah, and that's where it comes from. I don't think Miami is better than Philly and Orlando. I don't know what's going on with them. I had them being higher than what they is. I think Orlando and Miami is probably identical, but I just think Miami's going to finish where they are, and whoever they, I don't know who's going to finish at the top seed in the East.
Well, I think Detroit, they're five. I'm looking at the standings right now. They're 5.5 games ahead of the two
But
seed
Boston
Celtics.
looks good though, man. That's why I don't know. I think Boston can get on a run.
I
I
don't know if they're
don't know,
gonna. I
man.
mean, Tatum might be coming back, but I'm not sure. How the
Nah,
Pistons been rolling, I'm not sure if they're gonna be able to make up basically 6 games on the Pistons. I know I heard while I was listening to, I think it might have been 5 Reasons or it was Locked On Heat, one of those two earlier today, and they was talking about that Franz for the Magic is out indefinitely, so
yeah.
that could honestly help boost us and drop them. Um, then so because we're a half game behind the Magic for 7, we're 2 games behind the Sixers for
Hmm.
6, and obviously Joel, they got Joel Embiid, who he's a toss up in regards to health.
He
Paul
was out
George,
tonight.
he was out tonight.
Hmm.
I'm saying Paul George, he suspended for antidepressants or whatever he was, whatever PG perks was doing. but but shoot, like I think
You mean
there's an
playoff
opportunity.
HGH?
I mean, shoot, like so there's a potential for them to drop, and like the six seed is there, like, but like I said, like a whole lot of stuff has to go right for the Heat for them to get there.
Okay, we'll see, man. We'll see. Before we get up out of here, man. Speaking of seating, um, there's been a lot of talk lately about tanking. I mean, we brought up the Jazz, who sat everybody, including the coach, and still beat us somehow right before the All Star break. But that's neither here nor there. Um, there have been some notions about tanking, and we want to bring this up for several reasons. One, because there's an interesting little nugget that I'm gonna circle back around to, especially considering our current positioning. But there's also a bit of news considering who's been pushing this agenda. We got a couple of tweets that we wanted to bring up. Here's the first one. The Miami Heat were reportedly involved and it comes from NBA Central, of course, the Dunk Central on Twitter, very, very popular account. The Miami Heat were reportedly involved in some of the proposals sent to the league office regarding tanking, per Ethan J. Skolnick of 5 Reasons Sports, of course. It goes on to say, I was told before the season that the Heat were involved in some of the proposals. Some they approve of, some they don't as much. But again, the Heat are a team that doesn't want to tank. Okay? Question mark. They don't respect tanking. We all know that. But interestingly enough, let's take a look at some of the proposals that have been mentioned, and that's how I'm gonna circle back around to what matters for the Heat. Multiple sources. This is according to Sham Sharania, the guy from ESPN that Shams bomb. Want to think he was either way. Multiple sources with knowledge of Thursday's GM meeting as well as late January competition committee meeting told ESPN that the following concepts have been discussed to curb tanking. First round picks can be protected, only top 4 or top 14 plus. Can't do both. Lottery odds freeze at the trade deadline or a later date, meaning it's not going to matter if you tank beyond the trade deadline. So you might as well try to win games and get experiences because the lottery odds will be locked much earlier in the season. No longer allowing a team to pick top 4 in consecutive years and or after consecutive bottom 3 finishes. Self-explanatory. I mean, you can't get a top 4 pick in back-to-back years. Or if your team sucked for 3 years so much that they finish in the bottom 3 times back-to-back, you still not going to be able to pick. You're just sucking for nothing. Team can't pick top 4 the year after making the conference finals. If you think you're going to win a conference finals and then quickly bottom out and suck to try to add to that conference finals winning team, you're stupid because we're not. Lottery odds allocated based on 2-year records. You can suck, but you're going to have to suck at least 2 years, of course, while dealing with the other worlds, and then we'll just other rules, and then we'll decide where you are in the lottery. So go ahead, buddy, and lose that money. Lottery extended to include all playing teams. Here's where it gets interesting. The Miami Heat have been a playing team for the last 3 years. They're not going to tank. So it's safe to say, unless they are able to get one of those game-changing guys, which Deem and Alex so eloquently mentioned in the opening of the episode, there's a good chance they're gonna find themselves at least in the lottery. As Joel chimes in, that's where being mid actually would help us. I'm gonna let you guys take a look at that in a second, but let me get to the last one. Flatten the odds out for all lottery teams, meaning no extra teams in the lottery, none of the funky stuff. But there are no percentages, no wanky because you finished with a worse record, you get better than the guy that finished with the sixth worst record. No, everybody's in the lottery has equal odds to get the top pick. So you might as well just try to compete. And if you're bad enough, you're gonna be in the lottery any freaking way. Um, let's go back to the one that concerns us. You can get a tweet off for me, Joe. Um, lottery extended to play-in teams. That would that make you guys feel better about tanking, or do you think they should go further? Or any of these rules as we get out of here and close, or any of these rules a way to curb tanking? If they're not, after you give your thoughts on the overall scenario, of course, the Miami Heat call and making that call is hilarious, by the way. But at least it goes with the philosophy. They don't believe in it. I get it. What are your thoughts on that, guys? And if nothing there sticks out to you, what are your things that you think are in tanking? If you have a problem with it, and if you don't, just say you don't have a problem with tanking, and we can just end it there.
I got a problem with purposely wanting to lose. I think it's a horrible, and I'm not just saying it because I'm a Heat fan, and obviously Miami go against that, but it's horrible. It's horrible for the sport, and it makes the organization look like they don't care about their fans. A lot of fans, they put a lot of time, effort, and money into supporting these teams, and sometimes they come with emotion. So it's from a fan standpoint, I don't think is a
Yeah,
great
Dean.
idea.
Yeah, Dean.
But I
Dean
mean,
ain't
but
here
but see,
often, but he know where to be when he is. Go ahead. My bad. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. Go
but
ahead. Go
see,
ahead.
now from a team standpoint, I could see like why as certain players like LeBron James, a Michael Jordan, whatever. You want a chance to get those guys, but again, it's called a lottery for a reason, and the draft, is a gamble. So you never know how these players are
Right.
going to turn out.
Getting your selection is a gamble, but you made an interesting point that Dean, even the draft itself is a gamble because and we matter of fact, I was gonna close on that, but we're gonna spend a minute on a guy that's one of the biggest guys. I mean, I just gotta talk about it. But go ahead, Alex. What's your thought on the draft lottery potential changes?
But
The rules that
again,
could lean towards the Miami Heat. Go
it
ahead,
was smart by
Dean.
the NBA. Smart move by the NBA. I like it.
Absolutely. What's your thought there, Alex? Do you like tanking? Do you think any of these rules could help? If not, what's your change that you got in mind?
Honestly, I like the rules that I like the rule changes that we just went over, like you just read off. Because right now the system, honestly, bro, it's set up to reward you for losing. Like if you're not one of those top tier teams who can compete, you literally just need to suck for multiple years to get high picks to get up to be one of those top teams. And I mean, just to throw out an example, the freaking Spurs. They drafted Wemby. Then they drafted Steph Castle. Then they drafted Dylan Harper. And all through that process, they picked top in the top 4 3 straight years. Now look at them. They're like number 2 in the West. Like so right now the system is set up for that to be how you get to the top. But if the system changes, then now everybody else has to change with the new rules. And that's gonna help, like Dean was saying, the product of the league and the competitive balance. I think because of the fact that like if somebody not injured, ain't no way you should be in February, bro. Like we in February, and I mean, yeah, the Utah Jazz beat us, but like they were literally tanking in February.
And that's not the first time they had did that, bro. They had did that. Of course, we all know they had did it a couple times before. In the prior weeks, set everybody for the fourth quarter.
All right, now to piggyback what Coach said, for the Spurs, yes, it worked. But you can look at teams like the Philadelphia 76ers, where they was tanking for 5 years straight, and nothing paid off for them outside of drafting MVP. And
That
let's be
kind of
honest,
sort
if
of
if
pays
they would have
off
had that
in
first
my
overall
mind.
pick, they probably wouldn't have even drafted Embiid. So I mean, tanking doesn't work for everyone. Like again, it takes a lot. Like it takes a lot, man. And most of the time, it takes luck.
If you're
It
going,
takes luck.
I agree, Damon. If you're going to tank and say it's successful, he either got to be generous. And Joel is great. amazing. I don't know if he's generational, but if you're going to tank and call it successful, no, but he hasn't been though, and that's the thing. If you're going to tank and call it successful, you either got to win a title at least, or the player got to be generational. And I think Wemby is generational. So I get that, but because they haven't won a title, but you could call it success because Wemby looked generational. He got to stay healthy, and there's a lot of ifs to that. But that's the same thing we're talking about Joel. I'm gonna get out of here on this, man. Speaking of that, it kind of ties in perfectly. Tanking, losing on purpose, generational prospects. Look, I'm gonna give each of y'all 30 seconds, and before I give the closing bar, I'm gonna finish with mine. Peterson, man, Darren Peterson. What do we think about Darren Peterson, man? I mean, is he playing enough? Is he gonna be that guy? Does this concern you? And then we can get up out of here.
It's going to be concerning the whole draft process. A lot of teams going to bail on him because of that, and it's not good for the sport. It's not good for him. It's a horrible look. It's a horrible look.
Okay, that's what I was gonna get to. So you think for him individually as a ball player too, it's not just how you think other teams gonna see it, but you actually think it's a bad look for him.
Yeah, and then
Right.
the question in the draft process is going to be, why don't you play? Why are you tapping yourself out early on in games?
This? Right.
Do you want this? Yeah, like
why did it seem like you was ducking out on certain comp?
There's a lot of that. So we all feel the same way. I'm glad to hear that. That makes my heart smile, man. I'm glad to feel that. I mean, because you got a lot of kids out here on Slice Twitter that are like trying to cap for him and cape for him and like, you know what I mean? But it's just an awful look, man. And I guess it ties into this whole tanking culture because it's like, do we want to celebrate losers, man? Like you can't be checking yourself out of game. Coach, tell it, Coach. I'm gonna let you get your word off on this. If one of your guys checked themselves out or looked at you like they was about to check themselves out, how would you act?
Obviously, you with the wrong people then, because obviously, like we recruited the wrong person. If you to a point where I'm done with this, take me out the game, that's not a good look, dog. You got to be willing to stay in the fight no matter what, and you taking yourself out like, dog. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that, man.
I mean, stare you down after he nailed a jump shot like you stink. Anyway, listen, man, that's my man, Coach. That's the long scene, Deem. We hope to have you back sooner than later. We thank you for lending your ear to this, Sal. I'm Kay. And the long awaited, this has been the Biscayne Breakdown. We'll be back next week, man. Holla.
Now I pull up on the scene, dead